This is our only chance. We have to take it. We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. It's Godzilla.
These are dangerous times.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
The myths are real. There was a war. And they're the last ones standing.
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it.
Who bows to who?
Nobody gonna stop for me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Here we go.
I'm going to watch 30 movies, a movie each day in June. It's day 3 of year 8 of movie month, and the podcast will start soon. He's going to watch 30 movies, some good films and some lowbrow. Year 8 of fans, not experts, movie month, and the podcast starts right now. Year 8 of movie month, that much you already know. Year 8 of movie month, and now it's time for the show.
It's so sad living at home, far from the city, and the midnight road is so bad. Going to school, so far from me, and the dirty things that we done. I'm a king of the nighttime world.
Do your my headline queen. I have no idea what this song has to do with the movie I just watched. The word king is in it, and it's the first thing I thought of, and there you go. Folks, it's 10:30 at night, June 3rd, 2021. I just watched the Boston Bruins win in overtime. Sports! And I'm here to talk about today's movie, Godzilla vs. Kong. It was pretty much exactly what I had expected. Godzilla, quote-unquote, versus Kong, much like any other thing where you see good guys versus good guys, Batman versus Superman. Oh, they're fighting each other. and then they're teaming up against somebody. So I felt that's what it was going to be. And ding, 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 I was correct. So we had, let me see if I can go through the plot of the movie, because I have to tell you, I watched this in drips and draps, starting at like 7:30 this morning and ending in between the third period and overtime. That is how I watched Godzilla versus Kong. Really a terrible way to watch a movie. Tomorrow's movie, I plan on sitting on the couch. I have the day off, watching it on the television, and watching it all in one sitting. But I think maybe I did that with Bill and Ted, but definitely the last 2 days I haven't done it. But that's the rules of the game, baby. Get the movie in and watch it and move on to the next day. So, okay. When we last saw King Kong, it was like the 70s, right? And he was on Skull Island. Now he's in like a facility, or is it on Skull Island? But they kept his facility there, and they put him in some kind of like fake cage. I don't know. Doesn't give a crap. There's a little girl who communicates with him, is friends with him, and she's like the adopted daughter of the scientist. And they watch Kong, and at the same time, there's this company called Apex, whatever, doesn't really matter. And Godzilla attacks them, seemingly out of the blue. But it turns out that it's not really out of the blue. They're up to shady stuff, and they're creating some kind of thing, and Godzilla can sense it, and we'll get to that. That's really kind of the big climax, triumphant end. So Godzilla's seen as the bad guy. Everyone's like, but Godzilla's bad. And only Millie Bobby Brown is like, no, Godzilla's good, because she's in this. Now, remember, she's Coach Taylor's her dad. I can never think of his name. Kyle Chandler. There we go. Her mom is it Mira Formiga? I love the actress. I'm going to be watching her tomorrow, and yet I can't think of her name. She was not in this one. She was in the last one. She's not in this one. Basically, Kyle Chandler was in it for 5 minutes. I'm not sure what Millie Bobby Brown did in this movie. She's a star, so obviously she's a name. Having her attached to the movie is good. She had a friend who I can't think of his name, Julian something or other. He is in The Hunt for the Wilder People. I think that's what it's called. The Taika Waititi movie. Really good in that. I think he's in Deadpool 2 also. So he's like the funniest little sidekick. And then Brian Tyree is kind of this kooky podcaster who hooks up with the two kids, and they somehow find their way in Hong Kong, and they somehow help to save the day. It's all kind of like snooping around, kids looking in, oh, we shouldn't be here. And then they wind up accidentally in Hong Kong, and then they wind up discovering the big bad guy, which is really the company. And the company is putting together the bad guy, and that Godzilla sensed that, and that's why he attacked them. Now, here's where it got a little kooky for me. There's this whole center of the Earth thing. It's called Hollow Earth. There's this whole theory. We had Alexander Skarsgård, and he's a scientist with a golden smile who's a little down on his luck because they tried to go to the Hollow Earth and his brother blew up. And you know that because later on in the movie he does the wonderful thing where he holds a photo of him and his brother and just looks at it and he's like, oh my God, you're dead. And the rich guy comes to him and he's like, look, we think there's energy down there that can help us against Godzilla. Because remember, they think Godzilla, they just assume Godzilla's bad. And we can have it just in case we need it. He's like, really? Okay, let's do it. Well, he goes, I have a theory that all these monsters are the way to get down there. Because the last time we went, gravity ripped my brother to shreds. I think the way we do it is we go with King Kong, and he'll let us through the door. And I'm like, okay, just go with this. So now they're flying, they take King Kong by a boat. They want to go to Antarctica because there's a gate there. I don't know. They built this gate. You got to just kind of assume all this stuff makes sense. I'm sure it looked awesome on the big screen. And so they start going on a boat, and King Kong is tied up or chained up, and the little girl communicates with him, and you find out he knows sign language. He signed for home. Turns out later he knows complete perfect English and sign language. I mean, she's saying complex things, and he's like, oh, yeah. She's like, Godzilla's is our friend. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, Godzilla's our friend. Cool. I think they were playing charades at one point. So Godzilla, can sense, these monsters can sense each other. So Godzilla goes and attacks, and we have our first fight. King Kong survives. King Kong stands down. Godzilla goes away. And now they're like, all right, let's take him by air. So they fly King Kong to Antarctica. And they're like, go in that tube. He's like, no, I don't want to go in that tube. And they're like, no, go in that tube. Your family may be there. He's like, really? Okay, let's go. So he runs through the tube. They need him, so now they fly their magic spaceships through the tube. And you're going down deep. And then you hit this whoop, this vortex. I don't know what the hell it is. And they go through it, and King Kong's like, I'm falling. And the ship is like, whoa, this is crazy. And now it's them, but it's paid for by the rich guy who says, go get the energy. But it's Alexander Skarsgård, the scientist, and the little girl who can talk to King Kong. Now, anybody with sign language can talk to King Kong, but King Kong trusts her. So I guess that's why it's safe to bring a 9-year-old girl to effing Hollow Earth. I don't know. That scientist should have that child taken away from her, and she should be prosecuted to the fullest. So they go into Center Earth, and here's what I don't understand. It's like blue skies, clouds, sun. I guess I want to say the energy core of the Earth lights up, and I'm going to say reflects off the shiny inside that makes the sky. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's actually really beautiful down there. But there's big monsters, and Kong is like, this is cool. I like this. This is awesome. And he's like, look, there's a handprint. My ancestors were here. This really was where my family is. Oh, there's a monster. I'll rip his head off. Cool. Oh, there's a cool axe. Oh, the axe glows. Oh, the axe has energy. And they find the energy core. And then the daughter of the bad scientist is like, hey, we're actually here to steal some of that energy to bring back to the surface. And like, what are you talking about? And he's like, they're like, this is what it's all about. Now, somehow they can scoop it up, put it in a machine, and then upload it, and it goes all the way back up to Earth. I don't know how this works. Now, it turns out that while this is going on, Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree, I don't remember his last name, he's Paperboy in Atlanta, and the friend they end up accidentally in Hong Kong because they broke into one place and they hit a shuttle that underground brought them to Hong Kong. Just go with it. And while they're there, they're like, oh my God, they're making a robot Godzilla. And the kid's like, it's not a robot. That's not. He's like, it's not a robot Godzilla. That's a Mecha Godzilla. That's my New Zealand accent. Mecha Godzilla. So they're like, I go, there it is. I don't think I realized that Mecha Godzilla was the bad guy. Now, if you look at those old 60s, 50s movies, there's a Mecha Godzilla. It's just like a man in a kind of a tin suit. But this time we got this giant robot, and we find out that the robot is being controlled by the scientist assistant, this dude who is like controlling it with his mind. But then we find out that the robot, the guy is with the mind is connected through wires to a skull. The skull belonged to Monster Zero from the last movie, and that gives him that skull had like psychic powers, or the body did, or whatever. And so they're using that as a neural uplink to control Mecha Godzilla. But they didn't have enough power, so they got the power. They came up from the Hollow Earth, and I'm doing pretty good considering I watched this like in chunks. And they brought it up through the Hollow Earth to power Mecha Godzilla. But then Billy Bobby Brown and her gang got caught, and they get brought to the big bad guy, who's like the owner of this Apex facility, cybernetics, and he's like, I am making this so that we can control Mechagodzilla, and so we can have a chance. But somehow the neural link disconnected, and it turned off. And this was actually kind of I enjoyed this part because it turned off, so it wasn't connected anymore. And Mechagodzilla, you just saw it slowly turning behind the big guy and walking up. And then you get that classic, the guy looks and goes, oh shit. And then Mechagodzilla kills him down in Hollow Earth. As they're trying to leave the army people and the good scientist, King Kong kills the daughter of the army person, smushes her spaceship, because she was kind of a jerk. And the other people were able to leave. Godzilla, at the same time, for some reason, comes to a certain area and shoots his laser breath through the Earth all the way down to Hollow Earth, making a new tunnel. And I think that's how they flew out. So that's how Godzilla came up. That's how King Kong came up. That's how they flew out. And then all of a sudden, Mechagodzilla's like, I'm here to fight Godzilla. So they start fighting. Oh, no. First we get a fight of Godzilla and King Kong. But that goes on to more. King Kong is down for the count. Godzilla pretty much won. But then Mechagodzilla comes up and starts beating the crap out of Godzilla. Alexander Skarsgård and the scientist and the little girl, they take their spaceship, well, even though it's like an Earth ship, whatever you want to call it, a hollow Earth ship, bring it back to Earth, and he's like, this thing has so much electrical powers, I bet I could use it as a defibrillator and start King Kong's heart. Sort of, kind of. So they're like, here goes nothing. He puts the ship on King Kong's heart, runs away, bing, 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 boom, and then Kong comes up, he's like, ah! He goes, beats the crap out of Mechagodzilla, rips his head off, and then Godzilla looks at him, he looks at Godzilla, and it's like, what's up, what's up? And Godzilla says, I'm leaving. I'm Poochie. I have to go back to my home planet. He flies. He goes back into the ocean, and then it goes to end. But then we see now King Kong is left to roam free. There's a kind of a care facility for him now in Hollow Earth, and they're just all the humans are just hanging out in Hollow Earth now. It's like a nice vacation spot when credits roll, and there was no post credits. Even though I thought I heard like a bloop bloop. Like maybe a underwater monster or something for the future. I don't know. But that is King Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong. I just basically gave you the plot summary. I don't even know if that was what I was planning on doing when I did this. But as I say, I'm hopped up on Bruins winning. And as I said, I talked about my dog yesterday. She's sleeping right now, or she's completely relaxed right now. I don't want to chance it. Last night, after I finished talking to you, I was like, all right, time for bed. Let's go to bed. And then my dog started doing it again. I'm like, oh, no. And then that lasted for about an hour. We finally passed out. Took her to the vet today. She might have, okay, let's be honest with you. They checked her shit. She might have a little bacteria in there. She likes to pick up stuff when she's out walking, so she might have got into something. I was actually glad they found something there because that means we could probably deal with this. Got her on some antibiotics, some probiotics, and then I thought to myself, wait, the probiotics and the antibiotics, don't they cancel each other out? So now she's just getting biotics? I don't know. Got her on some mild food, and but she's not on the antibiotics or the probiotics tonight. So I'm kind of going this like without a parachute tonight, and I just hope she chills. I'm going to try to sleep. I don't want to pick her up. I'm just going to leave her on the couch, let her chill, and hope for the best. Anyway, the movie. Oh, yeah, the movie. So I was like, it felt like I feel like a lot happened when I said it, but while I was watching it in different chunks, I was like, what is this it? This is what's happening? It got good reviews. It got a good positive reviews, and I think it was enjoyable. Maybe if I saw it on the big screen, I'd like it even more. I haven't seen one of these Godzilla movies on the big screen. I like King of the Monsters more because there was so much more monstering. Whereas this, there was a lot of humans, and then like you know that guy who's like, I'm here to help humanity. You know he's the bad guy, like just a ruthless, not a bad guy, but a selfish guy. Maybe he wasn't like evil, but he was greed. Maybe, I don't know. And you had the fun, like the kids with the guy who Paperboy. I don't know his name. He was basically, he's a podcaster / conspiracy theory / investigating stuff. And he's like, this, what's that you got there? Well, the kid's like, what do you got there? He's like, this is a bottle of whiskey or something like that. And why is it in a gun holster? It's a gift from my wife. She passed away. And I always said, once this bottle's empty, glass is empty, I've given up. And I'm like, wait a second. We're going to see that again. And, of course, later they take the drink, pour it on the computer that's running Mechagodzilla, and they short that system out, which allows King Kong just enough to sorry, if Christian, if you're listening to this, Hunkburger, I just saw your tweet come in. Spotify is doing a thing where you can see that like you're the only person who listens from this to this, like to show how unique you are. Mine came Paul Williams, who does all the Muppets and M&R's Drag Band Christmas. And it says, who else would listen to Paul Williams after Metallica? And Christian had this Dr. Octagon after Miley Cyrus. Christian, if you're listening to this, I just liked your tweet live on the podcast. Okay, where was I? So it was... I was enjoyable, but it wasn't wonderful. Like, I think the last one, again, maybe just with all the monsters, I was having such a fun time in watching it. This time I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. Oh, I know this is coming. It was a little more predictable and just kind of like, I got a little lost with the Hollow Earth, and it was like, wait, there's sunny and there's clouds? How is this possible? And they probably explained it, and I just missed it because, I watched that part at like 7 a.m. this morning. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say about it. If there was anything of interest. Like, I don't feel like they even teased a next movie. I guess something could happen in Hollow Earth. I don't know. But Hollow Earth just looks like, I don't know, just a giant, beautiful jungle. Really, at one point I was saying, technically I'm really just watching a video game fight another video game. And that's what most of these movies are now anyway. Even all the Marvel movies and superhero movies, you're mostly just watching computer animated stuff. It really just comes down to, can you make that emote enough and give me a good enough story? Yeah, I guess I was kind of like, oh, Kong, they do give him good emotion behind his eyes. I don't think it was Andy Serkis. I just assume every gorilla and monkey I see on screen is Andy Serkis. That'd be, yep, me again. But they did a good job with that. I guess I enjoy these movies. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I liked the last one. Maybe because Vera Farmiga, boom, I remember her name, wasn't in it. And maybe just because I was like, wait, what are these kids even doing? It just kind of happenstance, like, let's go here, let's go there. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And then it ends up that they end up, helping to defeat Mechagodzilla by pouring a drink onto a computer screen. Little things like that just were like, a little weak. But that's not what the movie's about. The movie's about seeing two monsters fight each other and then fight a giant robot monster. And with that, it definitely did deliver. You knew Godzilla versus Kong wasn't going to be about Godzilla versus Kong. It was going to be about two of them butting heads until finally they, come together to fight a giant robot. Obviously, how else could it end? And speaking of ending, we're done here, folks. I want to thank you guys for listening and subscribing. Thank you guys. Day three. We're almost, we're almost halfway. We're almost a tenth of the way there. I was going to say halfway through my first week, but now we're 1/10 of the way there. And I'm on the weekend now, baby. I got a long weekend, so I'm excited about that. Tomorrow, I'm going to be heading back to HBO Max for a movie that is premiering, one of those same day in the theaters, on HBO Max, but I'm not going to HBO Max. I'm not going to the theater. I'm going to the couch. So I hope you join me then. I don't know if you know what it is by now. I feel like I might have given it away. That doesn't matter. I don't care. Somehow, after the Bruins, they went right to gymnastics on NBC Sports, and this guy's doing the rings right now, the hanging rings. That is wild. Like, oh my God. I can barely oh my God, how is this arm not twisted off? This is wild. I should just do a gymnastics podcast. Imagine if I did a gymnastics podcast for the next 29 days. Or 27 days. I barely talked about the movies. And I said, guys, I just watched this dude on the pommel horse. It was ridiculous. All right, my friends, you know where to find me. On Twitter at Geek Mentality. On Instagram at Geek Mentality. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. The website is fansnotexperts.com. The podcast is Geek Mentality. And the theme song, oh yeah, this is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.